Hey, it's Nikachu, and today we are going to take a look at the luckiest comeback ever in Magic the Gathering Pro Tour history. The year is 1999, Pro Tour Chicago. On the right, we have Bob Maher Jr., who's running Oath of Druids, a deck that controls the game with counter spells and removal spells. Bob will try to win the game with a Morphling found off of his Oath of Druids. And with a Morphling in play, it can get pumped up and make quick work of his opponent. But what is Bob up against? On the left, we have Brian Davis's Necropotence. The namesake card of the deck is one of the most powerful cards in Magic's history. You have to skip the part of the turn where you draw a card, but in exchange, you can pay life to set aside a card to be picked up before your turn ends. Effectively, you can draw as many cards as you have life. And to keep that gravy train going, Davis will use Corrupts and Drain Lives, which deal damage to the opponent and gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. Brian's also packing Duress and Unmask, which will force Bob to discard his counter spells protecting him. So who would win? The person who can pay 19 life to draw 19 cards, or a man armed with a Beanie Baby?
Hello and welcome to the finals of 1999 Pro Tour Chicago. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm here with Brian Hacker, and we're really looking forward to this championship match between Bob Maher Jr. on the right hand of your screen and Brian Davis on the left.
And not just that.
He has 2 discs in his deck, but Bob has answers for those as well.
And not just that, after sideboard in will come a compost, which is really devastating.
Oh, the spirit of Chicago is strong with this one. First Pro Tour ever with Necro in Extended in Chicago. He is playing against a hometown kid, hometown guy, Bob Maher, but Maher has cashed his draw in. Maher's forced a mulligan, and wow, first turn, Unmask You, Ritual, Necro. You can't draw that up any better, can you, Brian?
That's a pretty ridiculous draw, to be quite honest.
Maher has to draw 2 Force of Wills and 2 blue cards. For this, how does he win?
So Brian is dealt a perfect 7-card hand. It's got Dark Ritual to ramp out a Necropotence, and it has backup. It's got the discard spells like Unmask and Duress to protect him from any counter spells that Bob might have. Bob mulligans to a 5-card hand. With his back against the wall, how is he going to get out of this?
Like, to be perfectly honest, the best hand Bob might draw might be 5 land, or like...
I agree.
Something very similar.
That's
like
close.
That's a perfect draw almost.
Okay.
I mean, he's going to lose the Aura Silence, which really stinks, but the rest of it is really solid. He just wants land.
He drew a black card. He can unmask him twice if he wants to. If he wants to remove Corrupt, he can go Unmask You, Ritual, Necro. That's all I got.
There's rumors
I'll do more next turn.
There's rumors that Brian Davis sacrificed a goat last night in order to get a draw like this.
Wow. Yep, take the aura. Does he bother going for the plow? I mean, he might as well. He's just going to refill his hand, right?
Yeah.
Is there a reason not to? Yeah. Oh, he's gonna be conservative, isn't he?
You should take this for hand when you drew 7 cards.
He should have 1 card in his hand.
Necro for 5.
Necro for 5. He's still gonna win, but it's not as much fun.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Yep.
Randy all Necro for 9 Bueller.
That was even more fun when you had Firestorm in your hand and there were like 3 creatures on the board. Played against Sven Geertsen, I get to say Necro for 11. And the look on his face was priceless because I'd already Firestormed him once. He's looking at his hand, there must be something I can do. Yeah, memory's all I got left. Alright, there's Morphling. I think Unmask Morphling, draw some cards. You know you're going to unmask it eventually, right?
Yeah, it
Not
just
like Spinning
depends.
Darkness is going to do any good.
Yeah, there it is.
Waste you. Alright, so Bob has a land and a card.
So the coast was clear for Brian to play the turn 1 Necropotence, paying 5 life to put 5 cards in his hand. By his next turn, he stripped Bob of all his good spells, destroyed one of his lands, leaving Bob with only a land on the battlefield and a land in his hand.
That's nice. That's nice.
Brian's only got 2 permanents, right?
It's a good thing him's not in this environment anymore.
Although, you know, they're doing exactly what Chris Pakula said they should do to fix Extended. Said ban everything until Necro's good again. Then ban Necro, and then you're done.
With an active Necropotence and a ton of life to spare, this game is basically over. If we had the little percentages underneath the hand, like we see in poker, I would say Bob has like 1% chance to win this. But Bob says, never tell me the odds. He's got 1 silver bullet left in the deck, and that is Ivory Mask. It's an enchantment. You can't be the target of spells or abilities. This would protect him from not just the discard spells, but the damage spells that also gains Brian life. So with the Ivory Mask on the battlefield, Brian's deck does nothing to Bob. But can he find it in time? Let's go take a look.
Brian does need to get some more life back. He's lost a lot of life from the Necropotence. Yeah.
Brainstorm. Okay.
So interesting.
He has Corrupt and Drain in his
Brainstorm.
hand, though, right?
A counterspell
He
here
needs
would be
counter.
big.
That's
Oh,
big.
that's huge.
Does he still have 2 blue?
That is huge.
What are
I
his
mean-
land? He's got Wasteland. He had to tap Tropical Island for that.
Right. It
What is
gets duressed away, but
Oh, you can see. He can just keep the Tundra. Can't tell if that's a Savannah in play. Then Bob needs to play Tundra. Yeah, it's a Savannah, so he probably keeps Tundra counterspell and plays
Right.
the Tundra, right?
right, that's right.
You're good.
This would be really big if
Brian should duress here.
right.
I mean, it's just Brainstorm. He's got to know that Bob's card is decent. Yeah, there's the duress. That'll get counterspell. Now he's got a Corrupt in his hand, Ritual Corrupt, or Ritual Drain.
That's correct.
Training for 4.
Or drain for 4.
Drain for 4.
Yep.
That's probably better. Now, presumably, he'll come up with a Swamp and be able to. He still has a Consult in his hand, right?
Yeah.
Why hasn't he consulted for Swamp?
Maybe saving it to consult for something else, figuring he'll draw swamps in the Necropotence.
Yeah, but I mean, all his drains and all his corrupts would be bigger if he had another Swamp.
Yeah, he didn't draw a swamp.
He did get a Wasteland, which will allow him to cast the Corrupt.
Right.
But it's a Corrupt for 5, where it should be a Corrupt for 6.
Go ahead.
But he can still consult for Swamp. Well, then he can't Corrupt.
Well, while this Game 1 may be a preview of the games to come, I don't think Davis will consistently get off as fast as he did.
Certainly not.
So, for those of you rooting for Bob, don't lose heart just
Certainly.
yet.
And Bob has Compost in his sideboard. Compost is amazing against the free spell Necro deck.
Okay.
Bob Brainstorm's response. Saw an extra card. It was blue. Yeah, he takes the Impulse. So now he can Impulse his response, but I don't think he has enough mana left. If he gets Arcane Denial, does he have Arcane Denial? Does he have a U1 counter that he can use here as an option? Oh, it's still, yeah.
Sylvan Library.
So none of that helps. He'll take the Sylvan just because it might allow him to get back into
Letters
the
on
game.
us. Okay.
So Bob finds a Sylvan Library. Not bad! It says whenever you draw a card for the turn, you draw 2 more additional cards. Then you have the option to either pay 4 life for each of those cards or put them back on top of your library. Now, it's no Necropotence, but hey, it'll do.
But that drain resolves.
Sylvan will get in play, I think. I don't think he's got a way to remove it from his hand, in his hand right now.
So now Davis 6, Maher 12. Brian will draw some more cards. And Bob will certainly play Sylvan Library here. I think Brian should probably then disc it away. There's 1 Swamp.
Go ahead.
Bob needs to draw a Gaia's Blessing. That's the main card to draw.
That one's not bad. It's not great. He's got 5 land in play, so he can counter a drain potentially, but
Yeah, if
but no, there's Wasteland on
yeah,
Brian's side of the
if
board.
Brian is conservative about
Bob just nonchalantly go ahead, trying to play possum, trying to look dead. Brian should waste something, waste one of the blue mana, and then corrupt, right?
yeah, that's right. No, he didn't. And he's gonna get it first.
What's that?
That's force of will.
What was that? Bob Maher, ladies and gentlemen.
So Brian made a colossal blunder versus Bob, who just drew a Force of Will. It costs 5 mana, but it can counter target spell. And Bob has 5 lands in play, but Brian has Wasteland, which says sacrifice Wasteland, destroy target non-basic land. Brian could use his Wasteland to take Bob down to 4 lands, making the Force of Will uncastable, and clearing the way for Brian's Corrupt, which would deal 6 damage and gain him 6 life, and with that life, more cards for Necropotence. What a waste of an opportunity.
Well, that was, I think, the first mistake we've seen from Brian Davis.
We're not
The guy
missing
doesn't
something
make
this time,
mistakes very often. That was just a very clear instance where he should have wastelanded. But he's probably not going to get too penalized as long as he can consult for something to give him some life.
Yeah.
But that
What's
was...
he used? He's used 2 drains and a corrupt?
Yeah, I think so. Now he can...
He gets his draw phase back too.
right.
Okay.
Bob's gonna play Sylvan, presumably. And now Davis should disc away the Sylvan and the Necro, right?
That's what I think.
Now, why has this game gone on for so long? And the reason is that while Brian has drawn millions of cards, unfortunately, he did not draw so many cards that deal damage and gain life. Where are the Corrupts? Where are the Drain Lives? He can't keep that gravy train going. And with his life total so low, he's now going to rely off the top of his deck.
Yeah, he needs to get his draw phase
His other
back.
option is to use a console.
I mean, this is insane. When you think about how
You know, if he
large a
removes another
start
corrupt
Davis
from the
got
game, too.
and where we're at right now, this is just really nuts. I mean, how many people really thought Bob had a chance in this game when you look at the first like 2 or 3 turns that Davis had? All right, there's a couple of people raising their hand, but not too many. And I think those of you that are lying.
There's 1 corrupt removed from the game, and there's a corrupt and 2 drains in the graveyard, if my memory serves. Is it? It's not 3 drains in the graveyard, is it? It might be 3 drains.
Yeah, this boy.
So those consults are really risky.
I love these shots. You get to look at Davis. He's going, what the hell just happened?
Why? Davis sporting a competitor shirt in the top 8.
He's reviewing his turn 1. I unmasked, I cast Dark Ritual Necropotence, then I dumped Bob Maher's hand. Why am I still playing this game? This is really where you gotta have composure, step back, think, okay, I gotta win. I have to win.
There is some, although there's
Yeah, there it is. And he gets his draw phase back.
Now, normally Black doesn't have any way to deal with enchantments, but then there's artifacts like Navineral's Disc that can be cast with any mana. Activate for 1 mana, destroy all creatures, enchantments, and artifacts in play. So Brian thought the Sylvan Library was enough of a threat that he pops his disc and blows everything up.
I don't
You
know.
can't let Bob Sylvan.
Do you know, Randy, exactly what the count is on how many Drain Lives and Corrupts he has remaining? We got our man on the floor, Scott Johns, that's going to check that.
Does he start 4 and 4?
Let's take a look.
I'm pretty
he
sure-
starts 4 Corrupt and 4 Drain Life, so yeah, he's got the full
He's
complement.
used up 2 corrupts, and I want to say 3 drains. It might only be 2 drains, so I'm not sure if he's cast 2 drains or 3 drains over the course of the game.
Oh my lord! Jeez! This is insane!
What the? Bob casually flips that onto the table. What just happened?
go.
By the way, the win percentages have just been inverted. Bob's odds of winning this game went from 1% to 99%. So Bob top decks the Ivory Mask. He can't be targeted by the Drain Lives, he can't be targeted by the Corrupts. That stops the Necro deck in its tracks, except one thing. There's only one card that's gonna get Brian out of this one, and that is the last Navineral's Disc. The same card that destroyed the Sylvan Library can destroy an Ivory Mask. But can he find it in time?
He has 1 disc left in his deck and 2 Skittering Scourges. We'd like to remind the crowd that the players are within distant hearing range, and they were able to hear that outburst. So I understand, but try to keep it a little quiet. Yeah, there were indeed 3 Drain Lights in Brian's graveyard. So he has 1 Drain and 2 Corrupts left in his deck, but those aren't going to do anything unless he comes up with the 1 remaining disc. Meanwhile, the 2 Skittering Scourges can win in the game, even while Ivory Mask is on the table.
I am just stunned at the developments of this game.
Look at the Bob's go-ahead hand gesture. So much more confident now than it was at the beginning.
There's a reason for that.
Of course he's confident. He's got an Ivory Mask on the table. Life changes so much when you've got an Ivory Mask on the table.
He only has 2 Nevinyrral's Discs in his main deck. And he's already used 1 of them this game. So he's got 1 disc left in his main deck, if my memories of his deck list is correct. I'll double check that. Yeah, there are 2 Nevinyrral's Discs in his main deck. The other 2 are in the sideboard, along with some Dystopias, which can also remove Ivory Mask.
Oh, big pull. That's a disc. That's a disc.
Yeah, obviously his play was correct all along. Maybe there's some Scandinavian blood coursing through his veins. You can just see what was 4 cards down.
Okay.
Confidently lays the disc. Bob, okay.
Well, we know
Wow,
Bob
the last disc.
can't disenchant it because the Aura Silence is still in the graveyard.
Right. He
So,
can draw Guy's Blessing it
that's a
back
disc.
in, and get it as the cantrip card.
Laying 2 there.
But he can get no. But he can get no rod.
Scoop?
So as fate would have it, Brian would find his final Navineral's Disc. But much like trying to catch a bus, Brian Davis was too late. Bob played Enlightened Tutor at end of turn, which let him look for an artifact or enchantment card and put it on top of his deck. And he found Null Rod, which says activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. And so what was once a delicious Danish turned into a crummy old doorstop. This would easily go down as the luckiest comeback ever in Pro Tour history. And what was the source of all of Bob's luck? The Beanie Baby. Well, that's my video for today. If you have any great comeback stories, why don't you share them in the comments section below. Smash like for comebacks and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, or the Skull Man will be in your nightmares.